So we'll be replacing the front Swaybar bushings here in a 2006 Subaru Forester XT. I did the Swaybar end links recently, which did fix the problem temporarily for the play in the Swaybar, which will give you a clunking, tapping, popping noise. But now I've realized my bushings are shot. They're original, and so now I'm getting that clunking, popping noise over minor bumps, potholes, etc. So that's a very common symptom, is either your end links here, which is a very simple job, or it could be your bushings causing this movement and lateral play, giving you a clunking, popping noise over minor bumps. And so to start here, we're going to remove this entire splash guard here that's right in front of the strut and the tie rod. You can pop out these little plastic kind of bolts here with a flathead screwdriver and peel this back so you can access the bracket that houses your Swaybar bushing here. You have two bolts, one here and one through there. You can see that I just took off the entire subframe of the vehicle. It's not as bad as it looks. It's a heavy 30-pound piece of metal, and it's your subframe that bolts to your car. And it's a collection of 14 to 17 millimeter bolts all through here. Bolts to the actual frame, up right near the bracket for the Swaybar bushings, all the way back there. It's just a bunch of 14 7mm bolts. Don't let that spook you, but it's way easier to get in here. And see now, look, I can just come in and mess with the bushing bracket, take these off. They're 12 mil, way easier. I highly recommend dropping this entire subframe with the 14 and 17mm bolts. They're just like this. There's plenty of them, and they all hold the subframe into these housings up here. Now that our subframe is out of the way on the floor, this exposes the bracket that holds your Swaybar bushings, which was mounted up like this. It's this simple U that sat like this with these 12mm bolts here. So you need to pop those 12mm bolts off, and then you will be able to then take this out. This was up there, which is the Swaybar bracket with the old bushing like so. Now all I need to do is throw this away and put the new bushing in here like so, mount it all back up, and then repeat on the other side. Torque specs are about 25 foot-pounds on these right here. On the right side here is my original Swaybar bushing with 138,000 miles. It's much wider of a diameter hole there, probably 30% more. Reassembling is pretty simple. You seat the new bushing in the bracket here and lay it up like so and re-bolt as you found it. And now you have a new bushing sitting right on your bushing with the bracket. And here's the Swaybar coming out. I kind of put the bushing on first, wrapped it around as best I could, but it's new, so it's very hard to get it on there with this bracket. I then seated it as best I could, and a rubber mallet is excellent for any car work. You should always have one. And then I bashed it up until it sat just like it is now, and it's ready to be bolted on with the two 12mm bolts on each side. So another final important step, this is my new bushing applied in the bracket. See how tight it comes together at its U here? You want that little line there to be as tight as possible. And you're gonna only achieve that by evenly tightening these. Go from this one to this one, this one to this one. Don't hammer one in and then do the other. You gotta be kind of equal as you apply them. So drill this one a quarter, drill this one a quarter, half, half, 3/4, you get it. So it applies up and even with a laterally equal force on both sides. So it closes that bushing against the Swaybar in the bracket perfectly. And now we're good. Our Swaybar is happy sitting in a new bushing with new Swaybar end links.